So should you be buying a house right now? I mean, there's a lot of things happening with inflation, increased costs of mortgages, the interest rates, rising prices that have happened over the last number of years. There's a lot of reasons why making a purchase and doing something like that right now is kind of a hard decision. And I get it. I can get behind it. I understand why you might be thinking that, and some are thinking that. But is there a downside to waiting? Well, we're gonna take a look at some numbers and talk about that today, because the reality is there might be like a bad time to actually not buy, and it might be the right time to consider it if it's the right thing for you. With all of the news, the headlines, everything that you're seeing, you would think that we would have soared into a strong buyer's market. Like we would have left the seller's market and gone straight to a buyer's market in Canada, let alone in Calgary. But the reality is we haven't, and it's confusing and it's surprising. So let's get out of the noise, let's go talk about these numbers, and let's figure out, is it a good time to buy still? So before we get into numbers and monthly costs of what it's gonna be and how it's changed over the last 2-3 years, let's actually talk about all the players that are playing right now. You've got interest rates, you have inflation, and you also have house prices, okay? So the first thing is we are in a higher inflation period. It's in the news, you see it everywhere, you feel it in your grocery bags, you're feeling this, right? Now, with bringing interest rates up, this is supposed to help bring down that inflation, and that's kind of what they're trying to do. They being Bank of Canada, whatever it may be. Now, the third player is your housing prices. So when interest rates go up, housing prices are supposed to come down. Now, what's happening is we actually have we have a lot of pressures pushing up on the housing prices. So if this housing prices is supposed to come down because interest rates have gone up and inflation is up, we actually need to like figure out this part. And if the housing prices come down, it kind of offsets the increased cost of borrowing that you're feeling right now too. So if housing prices come down, that's a good thing, but we have upward pressures on that housing prices from migration into Alberta, into Calgary, from high employment, so low unemployment right now, so there's a lot of people employed. And so with those things that are pushing up on housing prices, I don't know if we're gonna see housing prices come down. Now, what happens if interest rates take a break from increasing or they just pause? That could also kind of push prices up again. If we see people coming to Alberta, people moving here from other cities, which they are, that could also push prices up. That's all supply and demand, and it's all pretty straightforward, but it all kind of intertwines into the confusion that we're feeling right now when we're trying to make a decision on should you buy a house. So let's take a look at the numbers in a scenario. So let's pretend it's 2020 during all of the fun stuff that happened back then. But the reality is you were kind of going, I'm just not feeling ready. I'm not feeling like this is the right time to buy. Okay, well that's totally fair. It was crazy. Like walking into fall of 2020, I mean, it was busy. There was multiple offers. Like the market just switched and it was super, super interesting. So at that time, you would have had a 1.89% interest rate, and the benchmark price for a detached house was about $489,000. So if you put about 15% down, that would be about $73,000, and your monthly payment would have been about $1,740 a month, okay? So that is your first scenario, that's our benchmark. So now it's kind of moved into 2021, and you kind of were like, no, I didn't want to do that. So that was what you could have paid. And now you move into 2021 and you're like, okay, so interest rates have gone up a little bit. It's still really busy. I'm gonna wait for maybe it to be less busy. Maybe I'm gonna wait for interest rates to go down. Housing prices, that's gone up, but I'm just not feeling it. So you delay that again. Totally fair. Now you're gonna be locked in, or your 5-year fix in October 2021 is gonna be about 2.39% interest rate. The benchmark detached home price has gone up to $540,900. You put 15% down, that's $81,000. So you've got to put about 8 grand more. Housing prices have gone up about $50,000. And your monthly, because we know we all live off of monthly payments and what they cost, is about $2,000 a month. So you've gone up about $300 a month by waiting 1 year. Now let's fast forward to now. It's October, November 2022, and we've seen increased interest rates, and that scenario is we're now sitting about 5.29% interest. Your benchmark detached home is sitting at $623,000. Your 15% down is 93 grand. So now you've got to come up with $20,000 more for the same down payment for the same house. And you're now paying $3,172 on that same house. So you've gone up $1,432 since 2020 because you delayed in making a decision or wanting to buy. Now, I can get behind the reasons why you wanted to delay. I am not here to say you should have bought. That's not what I'm trying to say here. What I'm saying is there are pros and there are cons to making a decision on delaying, just like that person who got cut off down there and honked their horn. There's pros and cons to all of these things decisions that we make in life. And so right now, the pros of waiting, there are some, but there's also cons. So let's talk about those right now. You live in the GTA? We are coming to Toronto, we're coming to GTA, and we want to meet you in person. So if you know us, we are a real estate team, Chamberlain Real Estate Group here in Calgary. We've helped so many people from the GTA move in this last year or two. So we want to understand from you, from your mouth, hearing your words, why you are considering or why you would never move to Calgary. I want to hear both stories. So if that's you and you want to meet up in person, you want to hear an interview, we want to talk to you, head through to the form that's in this ad, in the description, or just click through the ad itself and tell us your story so that we can hear from you and possibly meet up with you when we are there mid-November 2022. So before we get to the pros and cons, I want to let you know that you should wait till the end of the video because we're going to kind of show what the scenario would have to look like for how much Calgary would have to decrease to kind of make it work if you're going to wait. But here we go. So the first pro is that your rent might actually be less than what it would be to pay for a mortgage. And so that's okay. So you might be in a situation where let's do that and keep that rent. Now, as long as your rent doesn't go up, because that is a possibility, but for now, that could be something that's gonna work for you. The second thing is you might just wanna make the decision of kind of like just waiting long enough so that you're gonna wait for the housing prices to come down, or you're gonna wait for interest rates to come down. But how long is that actually gonna take? And during that time, you're actually gonna be paying someone else's mortgage down for them. So the third one is you might be in a stage of life where it actually just doesn't matter. You know, maybe the kids have moved out or you just got married and you're totally planning different things. You're gonna be traveling more and it doesn't matter if you're in the housing market. And maybe you have interests or investments, that are actually giving you a lot of payment back already and it's outside of housing. So all of these things are pros of waiting and delaying and kind of see where everything shakes out. But there are some cons. And the first one is you're renting, but you're actually paying someone else's mortgage down. And that truly is the first thing, is you're paying someone else's debt. And that's renting no matter what, but that is a con that you have to be aware of. And the second thing is if you are just waiting because prices could be changing, interest rates could be changing in the future, that money that is sitting in the bank account with inflation as high as it is losing 6-7% every year of its value. So that money is just sitting there. And if that's the case, that is not a good thing because your buying power is becoming less just by you waiting. The third one is what if you actually might be paying higher interest rates? Now that could be a possibility. If you're paying higher interest rates and because of all the upward pressures of our home prices, let's say the home values stay the same, your cost of borrowing is just gonna also increase as well. And the fourth one I should say is, again, higher prices, because there is a chance with all of the upward pressures that are happening in our market that we could see values going up. So here's another scenario. What happens if next year we end up seeing a couple more small interest rate increases, but at the end of spring, they kind of stop doing that? Well, if interest rates aren't going up, because if they are, home prices should be going down, and interest rates flatline or they drop them, what happens to home prices? So you gotta weigh this into consideration. And truthfully, if you wait longer, there's gonna be more competition. It depends on your price point, depends on your product, depends on a lot of things. But right now, over the winter months, before spring hits, there is a low supply, but there's also kind of a delayed low demand too. So it's a little bit different. And so just consider all of these things when it comes time to actually trying to figure out what you're gonna do and does it make sense? I mean, I'm not here to say one thing or the other, go buy houses, don't buy houses. You have to do what's right for you. But the scenario that I wanna tell you about is this. To have payments similar to the first number, so in 2020 that was about $1,750 a month, to have payments be the same, we would have to see a 45% decrease in the benchmark price of a detached home in Calgary today. So what does that actually look like? We would have to see the $623,900 benchmark price of a detached home go all the way down to $345,000. That is a massive drop, and I just don't think we're gonna see that.